Alright, here's the supplies I'll be using. This is my template. I printed it off. I used www.1000freefonts.com. I believe that's what it's called. I'll put a link down in the description. And I downloaded a font that had this styling, and I liked it. They have some other ones that are pretty neat there too. Also, I will be using a piece of copper here that I've colored. If you can see, it's got some blues and greens in it on this side. And I actually stuck this piece in my oven and heated it. I think I heated it on about 500 for about 20 minutes. But the colors start changing very quickly and you just have to keep an eye on it. The other side I don't like as much. It's more of a kind of a darker coppery color with kind of some blotches and stuff, which is a neat effect too, but not what I'm going for this project. So that's my piece of copper. Here is my board I'm using. This is just a piece of pine, and I stained it and shellacked it, and that's what I'm going to be using as far as that goes. I think I used espresso stain and give it that nice deep color. I only put one coat on and rubbed off the excess. I will be using some upholstery tacks. I don't know if these are the ones I'm going to use for certain. I'm going to see how it looks like when I get closer to the end of the project. I have a bunch of different styles of these. I thought this one might be nice. It's like a hammered nickel type effect. So we'll see on that. I have an upholstery hammer here as well for using those tacks. And I have just a tape measure for measuring out stuff. Helps keep things centered. I have just a wooden dowel rod that's sharpened to a point on one end. It's got kind of a flat end on the other side with a curve on the back of it. Also have a Teflon tipped tool that I use for embossing, and that's just an extra end. It's a decorative end on it. And then I also have a variety of different colored paints there that are metallic-y in nature. And I'll try to put links to this stuff down in the description for anybody who's interested. And also I will be using a stylus. So those are my supplies, and let's get started. Alright, to begin, I'm going to use my copper and my template to get my lines laid out for this project. Now, whatever you want to be the front side, place this downward on your workspace. And then your template, you want to make sure that it's cut so that it is equal on every side as much as possible. And that way it'll help you get it centered. So here I printed this on a piece that's a little, I didn't have enough paper here to cover the edges, but that's all right. I can still go from the edge of the design and get it lined up how I want. So I'm going to start with one side and move the edge there about 4.5 centimeters, and we'll see if that's comes out. It just needs to go over just a little more to get it perfect. So again, if you're doing this on a piece of paper that was the right size, it would work out perfectly because you could already have this tweaking done to start with. But that looks good there. And I'm going to check the other way and make sure this needs to actually come up. I'll check it again. So again, symmetrical. You want to have your piece symmetrical as possible just for the overall effect that you're going for. But additionally, you could work on a larger piece of copper than you actually need, or a larger piece of metal, and then cut it down to size. So there we go. I'm going to double check my sides again here. Make sure we're still good. Okay. So then I'm going to paper clip this on. And I don't push the paper clips all the way on because it can mar up the metal near the edges where the paper clips are at. So I just do it like that. Now I'm going to make sure here that I have this. It looks just a little crooked. I'm going to check one more measurement here. do have it a little bit crooked. It's a little tilted, so I'm going to see if I can swiggle this over a little. Take care of that. That should do it. Okay, so now we've got our template centered on there. We're going to use a stylus, and we're going to trace the lines, all the outlines for this project. So I think I'm going to start with my letter here. This one's going to be a letter L. We're going to give this to a family friend. So I thought that this would be perfect for them. So trying to move, doesn't have to be perfectly on the lines. Just try to move your hand smoothly as much as possible so you don't get choppy lines. And again, you're just pressing lightly on this, and you have your metal above the foam so that it's impressing the line onto it. These thicker lines for the leaves and stuff, instead of doing 2 lines, which I could do, I'm just going to do 1 line and then just add an extra detail later. Which it could look really nice with a double line to give it an extra thick. I could give it a more interesting look, but not this time. So this one's a really leafy design, very kind of organic, and I'm going to add some color into this later on with some paint. And I think that'll make really nice accents to it. So again, the stylus kind of pulls a little bit, and you know, if you don't press too hard, it's not really an issue. So there we go. So this one I think has about 6 different leaves in the design, and maybe 2 flowers. I'm not gonna, that little detail there in the center, I'm not sure I want to use that one, so I'm not going to trace it at the moment. And the main point of this is just to get your outlines, because it's much easier to freehand detail when you have the outlines taken care of and the layout for your project. I was recently talking to somebody, and they saw one of my projects, and they're like, wow, this is amazing, did you freehand this? And I'm like, nope, I used a template. You know, just being able to print it off and everything's laid out for you just makes it so much nicer when you get to working on your project. So there's like a little calic here. I'm going to go ahead and trace that out too. And let's see, I can see faintly that I haven't done this line up here, and I accidentally poked through my paper. That's alright. So there we go. I think I have it all traced now. I can kind of move this around in the light and see. And then also, if I carefully flip it over, I can look at the front of the design and compare to the back side and make sure I got it all on there. So looks like I did. So now we are good to unpin the template here and get a closer look at the back side. Set aside your template and your paper clips. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. So now I'm going to deepen all the lines with my Teflon tip tool here. And this could also just be done with a wooden stylus that's kind of a little bit blunt. It could work there as well. That would be just fine. In fact, I'll show you both of these for an example. I just like the Teflon one. It's a little smoother, but this could probably have a little bit of wax applied to it, and it would slip along just fine. So there's how that tool does. And then these other leaves here, we'll do with this. Now, normally the item that's going to be in the front, the very frontmost, you want to trace that first. So I'm going to go ahead and stop with the leaves for a moment and go along here with the letter L, because that is the most prominent feature of this piece of artwork, is the letter L. So that way you can butt up all your other lines next to it and it doesn't cross over into your L. Definitely want that to have a nice, clear, crisp outline. So there we have the L. Now again, there's a lot of really beautiful fonts out there. I'll put the website where I downloaded this font from, and it's simple to download fonts. They have a download button next to the one that you pick, and then when you download it, normally your computer will stick that down into your downloads folder, and then you have to go there, and normally it's like a zip file. And so on my computer, like, I just go to the file where it is downloaded, and I can press open or install the font, and then the computer just automatically goes about the installation process and adds it into Microsoft Word, for example, where I can resize it to shape and things of that nature. And yeah, it works really good I do most of my stuff just on the computer even. And I just make the font size as big as I need to for the project. And if you look at the screen in 100%, it'll show you actually pretty close to what your size is going to be when it prints off. So it gives you an idea of if you have a piece of wood that you're already working with and you're trying to get it sized to that. It makes it simple. So I have nearly all my lines done here. I just look for the ones that are shallower. They need to be deeper. And I can add those in there. Alright, so I got that so far. That's what we have. So, as you can see, this is why I chose to use this side. The greens and stuff will go really good with the floral design. So here I missed a line, here I missed a line. So it's just kind of a process. You go back and forth looking for the lines you missed, and can't see it now. Where did it go? Oh, this leaf over here needs some additional work. All right. So I think we got it. So it's kind of, the copper here is kind of bending up a little bit. That's okay. It's not going to be an issue. So we're going to go from the front side and refine. So I took away my foam, and I'm just going to flatten this a little bit with just a dowel rod or one of my wooden tools. I can press lightly. I don't want to flatten my design. And actually that flower there, I have not yet traced that one. So the more complex the design, the more time you'll spend tracing, but that's fine. It's just part of the process. So here, I could have just outlined the flower, just the outline of the flower, and then come back and freehanded the details, but I just wanted to be a little more exacting on this project, so just trace exactly what we had there. And the calic there is going to be a different color, or the inside of the flower probably. It's a more accurate way to say that. So coming along, and I can trace next to this, and I'm not going to trace the inside. I'm going to leave that slightly puffed up, because I think when I go to paint it, that'll give it an interesting effect on the leaves and the flowers. Probably the L, we'll see how it looks when I get done tracing it here. And see if I need to do the inside of the letter L as well, which I may need to. All right, let's do a time lapse. All right. Alright, so this is how it's looking so far. We've got the letter outlined and all of the flowers and different parts of it. So I think I'm pretty happy with that. I think I will go ahead and touch up. I like how the dimension was added by not tracing the inside of the leaves, but I think I will go ahead and trace the inside of the L, and then I will sand it. So now, using a little piece of sandpaper just across the tip of my finger, I'm going to go along my lines here and sand the highs to change up the coloration of the stems and the raised embossed areas. It gives it a little bit of visual interest. And you want to be careful that you don't get the low areas too much. That can give it more of a scuffed look. So try to hit up just the highs, and it'll give it just the right amount of highlighting. And of course, if you do make any mistakes on the piece, it is handmade and it's not a big deal. Metal's pretty forgiving. You can readjust lines, and you can even use a flat tool called a deerfoot tool if you need to flatten out something, an area that you raised in the wrong spot or something like that. And it doesn't go back to looking exactly the same, but you can flatten it out. And if you texture the background just right, you can do like a brushed finish, and it'll hide most blemishes that way. Again, and you may have wondered why I have such a big border around the edge of this letter and I didn't make it bigger. And the reason for that is I'm going to be doing a decorative tack border around this. And I like it for extra security, but also for just decoration. I think it really looks nice, and it kind of finishes the piece, brings the wood and the metal together in a nice way. So there we have it. Sanded all the pieces in there. Alright, the paint has dried, and this is how it's looking, and I think it looks pretty good. Maybe could use one more coat of paint if I wanted extra richness to the color, but I'm pretty happy with it. So now that the paint's dry, what I did is I went ahead, and I don't know if you can see these or not, but I put little marks here that I measured out every so frequently, so I'll know where to add my nails to. And my little upholstery tacks here. So the next part after the front is completed is to go ahead and attach it to the back. So I've got some double-sided adhesive that I'm gonna put here, and this is, I really love this product. It's from 3M, and I actually buy these as scraps, so I don't have to buy them as brand new sheets, because I don't have to have one solid sheet to do this. I can overlap multiple pieces to get the same effect, and because it doesn't matter if there's a little space where they touch up to each other, so it works out. But these have worked really well. They're extremely sticky, and it works great for this application. So any areas where there is lines or things like that, you kind of have to press it down extra good. Just not so much that you push out any of the lettering, but it does need to attach firmly there, because otherwise it will try to, it won't want to peel away very well when you go to peel the secondary backing off of it. Even just trying to open these, sometimes it can be difficult to separate the backing from the double-sided tape. So And up here I stretched out a little extra. I can just kind of rub that off and it comes off there, so it doesn't end up hanging over the edge or anything like that. And then at the very end, I had a couple of smaller pieces here. I'll have to get those out. So there we go for that piece. I'm going to find one more piece for this, and then I will go on to doing attaching this to my board. Alright, this is how it turned out. I am pretty happy with the way everything went on it, and I think the upholstery tacks all turned out pretty evenly, which I was happy with, and the coloring turned out nice together as well. I think the hammer tacks give it a nice accent. They didn't detract from the overall coloration. So the front side is done. Pretty much the only thing I have remaining to do is to put a sawtooth hanger on it, and that way it can hang on the wall. And I have one here. This is, I believe, called a 2-inch sawtooth hanger. And I have the middle marked already on here. And I'm just going to make sure that I have equal distance on each side. That way it is able to hang evenly, and I do. And so this version comes with tiny little nails. And so I just hammer them in. Like so. And try to make sure the top of the sawtooth hanger is level. And I'll go ahead and add the other one in. So the longer sawtooths are nicer than the shorter ones. There you go, it's ready to hang. So that is how this turned out, and this letter monogram sign. So thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this project. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Thank you for watching, and have a fantastic day.